Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be speaking to you about this Volvo XC70 2004 D5 diesel that I'm a proud owner of since 4 years, roughly 150,000 kilometers done with this vehicle, and they've been getting more and more interesting price-wise the last few years. So quite a few people are in for this car at the moment, and I hope that my video will help you a little bit in making the right decision. I'm in love with this car. It's been amazing. It drove with me from Berlin to the border with China last year and back without breaking down, and it's been a overall incredible vehicle. And in this clip I'll tell you a few things about it, and they will hopefully help you make the right decision whether this is the car that you should buy or not. So let's start with a walk around. So as you see, it's a very subjective thing, but I think for a 20-year-old vehicle, and they stopped producing that one in 2007, so the youngest ones are roughly 17 years old. This looks still pretty fresh, and I'm surprised how many people walk up to me and talk to me about that they like this particular car, that they have good memories with that car because of the design. And I think there is still this Volvo boxy look in the back a little bit, but it has this round shape here and a bit round, more sporty in the front of the car. And if you follow me, I'm gonna be speaking about now a bit about the front of this vehicle. I made some adjustments to this car that I will mention now, but there's gonna be a whole separate video just on the mods that I've done on this vehicle. So for a car that's and I will show you the mileage in a moment, 370,000 kilometers done. That's roughly 220,000 miles. It's in incredible shape, and I mean, you take a look at this. Take a look at the trim. Still in very good shape. You can zoom in maybe on that, or the paint, which I haven't really done anything to it. I mean, now it's been washed a few days ago. It's a bit dusty, but the paint is just incredible on a car that's not been in a garage, that's not been very well detailed or protected, that's been driving in rough terrain a lot in central northern Europe with rough winters, -10, -20 degrees Celsius. That car still looks pretty fresh. I've done a renewing of the headlights, both of them, and they also have a foil to protect. They are the plastic version. So I think the original, they were with glass, then they were replaced with plastic. This is the plastic, so after a while they get a bit damaged. And there's one thing here about this element here, which you have the cooler, the radiator, which is not really protected with anything. So you may wanna, what I did here, I just put in a very simple Amazon 10 bucks grill that you maybe see or maybe not in front of it, to protect it from all the stones and debris that you have on especially on rough roads, which helped immensely. And let's make one thing clear: this car is made for rough roads, and not talking off-road, but it's with a little bit elevated body. It can definitely get you into roads that you wouldn't take a normal estate car. So as you know, there's some new damage here to the print. So let's take a look inside of this car. I'm gonna start showing you. You can enter from the side here, and I'm gonna show you some things inside that I like and some things that I dislike that particular Volvo XC70. So first of all, what's very important is you take a look at the leather. I mean, for a car with that mileage, and I've never done anything than just a normal wipe with some cheapest leather product. This looks like, yeah, this looks like a few years old car, which it isn't. So that is super high quality. Been driving with passengers here for quite a bit. This one here has one tear, which you can see here, which is probably easy to repair. I never have time for it. My fat ass probably caused this damage, but otherwise still the leather in great shape. Getting into the car, looking at the wheel, you have, yeah, I mean, look at a lot of cars from that era, early 2000s. You will have the wheel showing the mileage, and it would be completely ruptured or worn out. And here you have a really nice smooth wheel with that looks good, that has the right grip. I mean, that's great. Same with the manual gearbox here, the lever, which looks pretty good. There are some first gears coming up. And what's important, this one here is a manual. So you may wanna look for a manual when you're in for buying this car, for the reason that the automatic transmission, if not well maintained, will cause or will be very expensive to repair. And usually when you're buying this car from, you know, the time between 2000 2007, they will not be well maintained, unfortunately, the gearboxes, unless you really dig deep and you find one. Then you're lucky, you can buy it. Just requires an oil flush every 60,000-80,000 kilometers and you're good to go. But otherwise, if you buy the manual like I did, you are in for a couple 100,000 of kilometers of very little maintenance. I mean, you have to replace the transmission fluid maybe every 200,000, but that's just standard procedure. Also very cheap, but otherwise, yeah, that's a really reliable choice. And they have been quite rare, as I mentioned. So maybe a few percent of these XC70s from that era will have a manual. What's more in this car, and what I really enjoy, is that everything seems to be working, and that is quite unusual for 20 years of driving. So I'll just show you, just so you can take a look at that. That's the mileage here. That's obviously in kilometers, just to prove that it is actually quite high mileage. And what I mentioned with everything is working, take a look at the sunroof here. I mean, you open it, and it slides as smooth as it did on the first day. All the functions are intact. All the lights here are working. All the buttons on the dash here, from the radio and from the AC, are working flawlessly. And you know, the small little bits, like, you know, you open this, it closes properly. This here is still intact after all these years, and that actually is quite something for and quite a statement for how well these cars have been made back in the old days. This here, a cup holder, one of my favorites, also not always equipped with a cup holder, these models. This one has one, and that also is working perfectly. So we will do later on an engine startup, and we'll look at how this car drives. But for now, let me show you something that I do not like about that car. So as you can see, I'm 190 centimeters or 190 centimeters, which is just quite tall. And in the front, the way I sit now, I'm fully comfortable. More than enough. I have enough headspace, I have enough space for my legs. I can even slide back, so even someone that's maybe that much taller than me could still fit in the front. But if you want to carry passengers in the back, that's how it looks like. I mean, it's possible, but it's not very comfortable. And you know, people that would buy this car and have small kids, probably that's fine. Or have seats for the kids, that's probably fine. But if you have 4 adults that will drive here quite often, unless they're all very tiny, that's not gonna be that comfortable on long trips, and that car is made for long trips. So that's a bit of a bummer what Volvo did here with such a big car. That's 473 centimeters, the total length, which is quite a long car, and that little room for the passengers on the rear seat. Not really, yeah, quite disappointing, frankly. But what that means is they made up for it with space in the back, and that here is really you can, like, you wouldn't imagine what's possible to be loaded up here, including sleeping. So we did a full 9 weeks car camping road trip, what I mentioned, to China, or to the Chinese border from Germany, and we were sleeping in the back, so myself and my best friend, and there was enough space. You had or we had a proper mattress, inflatable mattress for the whole width of the car, and the car allows me with my 190 height to lie down flat and actually have proper sleep. So that's something that they really win with the trunk space, or the cargo space, especially once you can wait there. I will just show you what happens if you pull the seats together. So basically, once you have that up here, you can fold the seats. You can do it with both, and as you see, they fold completely flat. Here you go. Completely flat. If you remove the seat in the front, which is now just folded upwards, you have almost 2 meters length of space there, and you can yeah, as I mentioned, you can sleep here. You can carry your groceries from you know, from any kind of shop, any kind of construction work stuff or what have you in this car, and it's not going to be a problem at all. And I will show you one more trick, something that I just recently discovered on this vehicle, which is that if you actually remove the seat here, you leave it at home or whatever, what you can do is you push these 2 little levers under the passenger seat, and you win a total length of almost the entire length of the car, which is quite remarkable. I think what you have here means you really can put in things that have a length up onto the window, which is around almost 4 meters. And what you can also do, and let's come here from that angle now and show you, what you can also do, you have a very important passenger to carry around. You can easily just let them sit here. And now this turns into a limo. And yeah, I've never driven in the back seat because I'm always up there, but I've had people driving back in that position. And I mean, you can even put your legs here And come on, like, what else do you want? So that's a few of the functions of that Volvo, and a few of the things that I really like. You will also take a look now into what's up here. So I mentioned quite a bit of storage. There is more of that over here. So you have, when you lift this, you have obviously the battery, which in the Volvo is in the back, which I think has its advantages, that you don't have to worry about the battery being, you know, clogged up with all this engine bay mess, the dust and the grease and all these things. So that's pretty nice to have it here. And here normally you would have the spare wheel, which I ditched, and I just have a total just a trunk space with all the equipment that I may occasionally need. I also, you can see that maybe here, I also did a whole a speaker cover or soundproof cover, or whatever you call it, on the whole area of the trunk to also eliminate any rattle noise. Just a little bit of work, but Volvo has not been that good in actually doing that in the factory. And obviously the mandatory security stuff over here. And what I really like, there is also a 12-volt socket over here, and that one is not related to or not connected to the ignition switch. So that means even if the car is off, you can use that one for, I don't know, inflating a paddle boat or operating a fridge or any of the appliances of your choice. I also made one adjustment over here, something I always wanted to do, which is a panel for storing all kinds of equipment on my road trips, and basically using that little amount of space that you have on the side of the windows, and that's never really used fully. I'll also post the link in the description to where I acquired this. And as you can see here, this is also still factory. If you want to separate the cargo space from the back seat, if you carry dogs, or I don't know, whatever the reason might be, you can obviously do that. What I do with it is, when it's in this upright position, I just keep use this little space to keep my foldable camping table up here, which is super handy. Good, so that's it. So I hope this video helped you a little bit in seeing what this car can what this car is capable of in terms of functionality, in terms of space inside, in terms of trunk space, in terms of quality of the build. And last but not least, I mentioned we will take a look under the hood, which we will do now. Okay, so quick look in the engine bay. I'm not a technician, so I'll not be too much of an expert here. But what's important is the ones with the black cover, the diesel ones with the black cover, were the ones from the year, I believe, 2000 until 2005, and 2005 started the next model, which was the one with the gray cover. And the difference between the two is that the ones with the black cover over here are the ones without a DPF filter and the swirl mechanism, which basically makes the engine slightly more reliable and just less prone to some pro-ecological costs problems that the later model, also amazing engine, has. The trade-off is this is 163 horsepower, The next one was, I think, 185, a slight difference. But what I want to underline is this one here with 163 horsepower, the 5-cylinder diesel engine is more than enough to power this car, unless you're looking for a sports car, and that means you're looking at the wrong car to begin with. So plenty of power with that engine. Engine doesn't get too tired with the 5-cylinder. Amazing stuff. There is nothing really that's been replaced here except for the engine mounts, which I did at around 220,000 kilometers, and obviously the classic, every 150,000 you have the timing belt, obviously, and the auxiliary belt over here every 50-60,000, but that's just standard. There is a little bit of greasy oil coming out of here, which apparently is normal from the steering wheel, and obviously you every once in a while you gotta replace these here because you get I mean, if you drive in rough terrain like I do, obviously the car's suspension will be worn out faster. But that's about it. The rest here is all new and never really caused any issues. One more thing I wanted to mention, since we are at the topic of technology. So as I mentioned, I'm not the expert on that particular subject in the car. However, you may want to take a look here. I actually installed premium rotors. This is I believe a UK brand, EBC, which produces premium sports rotors and pads that I did after driving in very rough mountain terrain and always being slightly afraid of overheating these relatively small rotors. So the factory mounted, I believe this is 305 millimeters, which is on the verge of being a bit too weak for that size of a car, and that's also a bit more than 1.7 ton, the whole vehicle. So when packed, you can go up to 2. Quite a strain on those. So mounting this year, I believe, was just a choice of safety at a price, obviously, but I'm very happy with that. And one more thing, when we talk about pricey things on that car, the rear suspension is a self-leveling one, the famous Nivomat suspension, which is amazing, but it fails after around 250, 300, 350,000. And when it fails, it's quite a sizable bill to pay to replace it. There is conversion to standard suspension, which people do to save a few bucks. I didn't, and I replaced it for a brand new Nivomat around 50,000 kilometers ago, and I'm good to go for another probably 250,000. The beauty of the Nivomats is that no matter how much load you have in the back, the car is always gonna self-level to more or less the same height. And believe me, when you have that car, you will put load into the car, because yeah, that's why you buy this one, I guess. So I will be speaking to you or showing you how this car drives, and talk a bit about how the handling of the car is and how it actually feels like to be in the driver's seat on the road. I'm in some mountainous terrain here right now, so that's gonna be a good occasion to show you and talk to you about those things. So I promised that we will have a clip of the car driving, the car in action. So let's, as mentioned, this is a 5-cylinder diesel, so let's start with the startup, which might be interesting to some people. This car starts well for a diesel, starts fast and is quite reliable, and I've been I have a new battery on it, and obviously the basics are covered, and then it starts like this. The obligatory wait. of 2 seconds, and then you start the car. Yeah, pretty smooth. So we are now in Italy, which, as you can see, is a bit of a mountainous terrain here, so it's good. It's a good stage for talking about the handling of this vehicle. But before I talk about that, a few words about what I really like: the sound. This is a 5-cylinder diesel, and call me crazy, but this car sounds pretty good, and especially when you rev it up a little bit when you're in the mountains. It has this unique 5-cylinder sound that you know from Volvos, also from Audis, which has, I'm not sure if you will be able to hear that in the clip, but which has yeah, something slightly more aggressive to it, which is surprising given that it's a dad's car. So the handling of this car, one thing for sure, this is a highway estate combi car, yeah, a station wagon that makes you sit comfortably, relax. It's a proper couch-like seat here, and you can just cruise the highways with not too fast of a speed and not get tired. I've done routes of I know 700, 800, 900 kilometers. My record, I think, was 15 hours in one day with this car, highway driving. And yeah, I mean, obviously you're tired, but it's doable. And I don't think it's or I don't know any other car that I've been driving for a longer time that I can say that about, that there is no real pain in the back. Your legs don't get you know, don't get all cramped up. So from that perspective, it's great. And now in a terrain like this, it is obviously a pretty long car. So it's almost 5 meters long. It's not it's not super slim. There is also quite a bit of clearance on this vehicle. So in terms of handling, it is not a sports car that you will be, you know, racing through the mountains. That's still pretty solid, and the feel to this Volvo is just amazing. And it's very hard to capture that, but in words, but you have a very solid feeling of operating a vehicle that's just well balanced, and that has, with its weight, still enough power that you don't feel that you make this car tired, you know, while driving. It's all very smooth, and there is always quite a bit of a margin of power that is, you know, under your boot, that you can use if you have to. And overall, it's just a very comfortable driver's experience here. And but I think these engines, if maintained well, they go up to 500,000, 600,000. I know a guy from a Polish Volvo XC70 group that's now in his 600,000s with this car and still running strong. So it is what it is. It's an amazing car, and you will not be too disappointed if you buy it in the right shape, or if you buy a piece of junk and you're ready to invest a lot of money into making it work properly. And the next video after that, I will preparing for my trip to Western Sahara later this year. I will be loading this car up with all the gear that I have, which is quite a lot. And then I will show you a full clip of everything, including the spare wheel mounted in the back, a roof rack, some LED lights, and all kinds of things that I have for this particular car that makes the car very overland worthy. So thank you very much for listening. It's been a bit longer than I anticipated. I thought it's going to be a 10-minute clip. It turns out that it's 25 minutes or so. but I hope it is something that yeah, you will find useful. And if you have any questions, obviously post them under this video. And if you like the video, hit the subscribe button. I'm gonna be posting a lot of videos related to this vehicle, but a lot of videos actually from this vehicle, being in travels, being in rough terrain, being in countries like Western Sahara, or Morocco, or next year Mongolia, Russia, maybe even Japan, because that's on the list, Pakistan. So the car will be driving around, and on this channel there is going to be all kinds of clips related to how it's going. So thank you very much for your attention. Take care. Bye bye.